Hey everybody, so it's time for another episode of NHL Remember Him, and today we haven't done a defenseman in a while, so we're going to do a defenseman today. Somebody who most, if not all of you, should absolutely remember, considering he was in the league up through 2016, and really had a very, very solid NHL career for himself, and that is Matt Carle. So Matt Carle played 730 NHL regular season games, scoring 45 goals, 238 assists for 283 points. On top of that, he played 127 playoff games, scoring 6 goals, 38 assists, and 44 points in the playoffs. He spent most of his career on good playoff teams and played a lot of career playoff games because of that. He just happened to spend much of his career on good teams that went to the playoffs year in and year out. Carle was drafted in 2003 by the San Jose Sharks in the second round, 47th overall. He came into the league with the San Jose Sharks in 2005 and played with the Sharks from 2005 through 2008. He had 3 seasons in San Jose. One very, very good season where he had 42 points. Then in 2008-2009, he split time between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Philadelphia Flyers before settling in Philly long-term from 2009 through 2012. He spent a number of years with the Flyers, and arguably those were his best years. He played the biggest role when he was in Philly. He was a top pair guy when he was on the Philadelphia Flyers. And he was a very, very important part of those teams in the early 2010s especially. Then he went to Tampa Bay for a while. He spent 4 seasons with the Tampa Bay Lightning from 2012 through 2016. And then he played 6 games with the Nashville Predators in 2016-17, but he did not last very long. His career was certainly more than on a downtrend at that point. He had basically fallen off a cliff by the time he got to Nashville, and that experiment with the Predators just did not go very well, and he was quickly out of the league after that. So, a very solid career for Matt Carle. Just one of those defensemen that was never a superstar, never somebody who jumped off the screen as like, wow, what a great player this guy is. Never somebody who put up a massive number of points. His point totals were usually in the 30s. He eclipsed 40, or he got to 40 twice. He had 42 in 06-07. He had 40 again in Philadelphia in 2010-11. But he was generally around 30-something, maybe hitting 40 point-wise. Not a huge offensive guy, very much a two-way defenseman, solid in his own end. Not overly physical, but could defend and, knew what he was doing in his own zone. And one of those guys that kind of, is an important type player for especially for good teams. If you're going to be a playoff team, you need players like Matt Carle. Not everyone's a superstar. Not everyone's going to be, a top-end Brent Burns, Erik Karlsson type defenseman. You've got to surround, you've got to have, those kind of more just solid middle of the lineup type guys. And that's what Matt Carle was for much of his career. He had some very, very good seasons in Philadelphia, and he played a very huge role on a lot of those Philadelphia teams where he was kind of, one of the top 2 defensemen for those teams. And, he was always a guy who could put up good numbers and good assists as well. And his plus-minus often was very good as well. And same thing in Tampa. After he left Philly, he went to Tampa Bay, and he had some solid seasons in Tampa Bay. Towards the end of his time in Tampa, you certainly started to see the decline. He was definitely on the backside of his career, starting to go the other way. And his last season in Tampa, 2015-16, was not very good. Only 9 points, played 64 games. He was pretty much done by that point. But, overall, throughout most of his career, he had very solid seasons year in and year out. He was a very consistent defenseman. he had some, 2010-11 with Philadelphia. He had 39 assists that year, 40 points, was plus 30, plus minus. I mean, that was just a great season for him in Philly. He was always a pretty good assist guy. If you look at his assist numbers, 1 year in San Jose in 06-07, he had 31. His first, full season, or 2008-2009, the year he split between Tampa Bay and Philly, he had 21 assists between the two teams that year. His first full season in Philadelphia in 2009-2010, he had 29 assists, had 39 the next year, 34 the year after that. His second season in Tampa in 2013-14, he had 29 assists. So he was never a big goal scorer. He only reached double-digit goals once, and that was in his second season with San Jose. His first full season with San Jose in 2006-2007. And also the year he had 42 points, which ended up being a career high. Beyond that, he never even came close to double-digit goals. His next closest was 6 in 2009-2010. Wasn't much of a goal scorer, but he was a good assist defenseman. He was a setup guy who could make good stretch passes, was a good guy, working the puck on the power play, and was just a really solid, good defenseman, and never, great, never elite, never top tier, but a very good, solid defenseman. And he put together a very nice career. Nothing wrong with that at all. So, started out in San Jose, spent a good amount of time in Philly, then ended up playing a good amount of time with Tampa towards the end of his career. But everywhere he went, he was a solid, important player for those teams, and certainly at least until the end when things really started to go downhill. But overall, a very good NHL career for Matt Carle. Certainly someone I remember. I remember him, especially his time in Philadelphia and Tampa Bay. Obviously, playing in the Eastern Conference, watching a lot of those games, watching all those teams. He was certainly a guy that I saw play a lot. Didn't see him as much when he was in San Jose at the beginning of his career, but certainly a very, very good player. And I'm sure most of you will remember him as well because he played right up through 2016. So, with that is the end of this episode of NHL Remember Him. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description below as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. We are on our road to 1,000 subscribers. If you can help us get there in any way, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.